If you're a coach, expert, leader, a trainer, whatever you are in business, a book definitely differentiates you. It definitely sets you apart. And more importantly, it really shows that you are an expert in the field, in the area that you say you are. A book can go places or will go places that sometimes you won't get to. It definitely positions you because then you can expand that book. You can expand on the one item, and now you can create a course that aligns with it, which gives your client or reader more information or more help from you.
As a coach, as an expert looking to ask people to pay you for help, if you're not willing to pay for help, you will have a hard time commanding the price that your services are truly worth. Welcome to Marketing Stuff. I'm excited to have you back on the show today. We have an amazing guest that's going to talk to us about how creating books, courses, and online coaching programs can change the way you do business and guarantee that you'll make your first 10K months with her. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're returning, I appreciate you being part of the family. Welcome back. If this is your first time in the show, welcome. You're in for a treat because this is not the standard marketing show. I will tell you that. We're here to help you level up your marketing game in a way that doesn't feel like you're drowning in this marketing stuff. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notification about new episodes. But that's enough about me. Let's go ahead and dive in. Our guest is a marketing expert who helps authors, coaches, and experts create books and courses along with coaching programs. She's so amazing that she'll ensure you get your first 10K months in your business. Welcome to the show, Jacqueline. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This is going to be fun. So before we get into the content of today's show, I think it's important that we get some context to how we met.
Oh, Lord. Just don't mention that day that we had, our post banter. Remember that post banter?
Yeah, I'm mentioning it. So, this is the thing. This is how I knew we was going to be friends. So I'm pro Android.
Okay.
Pro Android.
Pro iPhone, and I'm showing it. Pro iPhone. All the way.
Where is it at?
You know what? This done started the war already.
Yeah, that's that iPhone right there. So I'm pro Android. And so I don't even remember how it came up, but somehow, I was messaging you.
Yes, you were.
Texting, and you were like, oh, you have an Android.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man.
I mentioned it first.
iPhone person.
Yes.
But you know what I find is that iPhone people always mention it first.
Then we do, because we the bomb. We the bomb.com.
Oh, you got an Android? We don't care. So she drops on me that I have an Android. I'm like, we finna get into this beef. So I posted a video that basically I was like, when somebody has an Android, hold up a trash can and then put your phone in the trash can.
What was the trending sound that you used? That's what really highlighted it. Something
I don't even remember what the sound was.
Oh my God.
I don't remember what the sound was. But what I'll do for everybody watching is I'll find the TikTok for both of them. I'll include them in the links of the show notes.
I mean, I remember my trending sound. It was the one that said, you gotta find somebody else to do it. That's
I remember that one. That's funny because I remember yours, but I don't remember mine. So that was the moment that I was like, oh, she's my friend.
Yeah.
She's my friend. It's interesting because that's actually how we met. We met through TikTok.
We did.
And through content creation. So I think that's a perfect segue into this idea of like why creating a book might have value for your business. So share with a little bit of like, how did you get into the space of writing a book and where did all that come from?
Well, I've been a writer, I feel like, since I was a little girl. I remember it like yesterday, starting out writing. I loved poetry. I love expressing myself through writing. I used to be very shy. I mean, extremely introverted. I would not articulate the way that I'm articulating now. And I remember in order for me to get my point across to people, because I felt like they would cut me off or always overtalk me, I would write letters. And I would write letters because one thing I knew, when you write a letter, just like when you write a text message, it's going to hold that person's attention. And so I knew I would be able to get across to them, good, bad, and different, what I needed to say. But as I grew older and I went to college, I learned that my writing was terrible. Get this. I had a professor that really wounded me. It was the best thing that happened to me, however. Embarrassed me in front of the class. She would put a writing prompt on the board for us to write about Japan, and I would be the one writing about Paris. And mind you, this was a remedial college course. And in college, you're just paying. You don't get credit for any remedial courses. And I was in a remedial writing class because college is all about writing. And she embarrassed me. However, I got better. I got stronger. I changed my major from African American studies and psychology to English writing. And then from there, I became an English teacher. And then I became an instructional coach for English teachers. And I taught writing. I was known in all of my districts as like one of the top leading writers. And then I became a master teacher, still writing for English. Then I became a department chair. And then I became a principal. That was my last gig before coming heavily into this. That's just the educational side. Also, I have a corporate side working at New Jersey's largest newspaper at the time. And I had massive exposure and experience with direct response marketing. That's when they used to send the little postcards or the letters. They would write sales letters.
Yeah.
They would mail them out. Remember those? They don't do that. Coupons. You had to send in, your response to the direct response marketing. But I watched and learned from the best copywriters. And I was attracted to marketing from that. So I said, I can take some of my writing skills, not all, because you can't approach copywriting with a grammar background. You just can't. No, ma'am. It doesn't. No, sir. No, ma'am. It doesn't work. So, you got to be grammatically correct, but you can't approach it with the rules of grammar. That's what I'm saying. There are, ways around that. So I honed in on that and I fell in love with it. And then from there, I developed my first Christian newspaper, made my first 10K through selling advertising space. And then from there, I began writing books and I began ghostwriting. And I ghost wrote for a lot of big time people. And because of contract reasons, I can't, but big time people, I would do their ghostwriting. And then I said, hey, what are you going to do with this book? You need some marketing behind this. And that's how I was able to develop packages, so I would do the ghostwriting and marketing packages for them. And from there, I wrote a few books of my own, but I've really helped a lot of authors who are really coaches, leaders, and pastors write their books.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we got a nice evolution of that. Right? I can't say that I went, the same route. My writing was definitely trash in college.
Who was it? Right?
I'm telling you, it was bad. No, it was, but I'm also dyslexic too.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So before we got on here, we were talking about how I wrote a book in 2019.
Right.
And it took me over a year to write this book. Wow. But most of it was fear of putting something out there, always being told that, your writing wasn't up to snuff.
That's it.
Yeah. And creating something that'll get ridiculed, right? So I ended up actually spending a year blogging.
Okay.
And writing articles week over week to get my confidence up to just finish.
That's a perfect way to do it. Yes.
So let's segue a little bit into this because I think the first question or at least people have asked me this question is, how do I know whether writing a book will help my business grow or is right for me as a coach, an expert, or an author? Well, if you're an author, you got to be writing something.
There you go, right? A book, if you're a coach, expert, leader, a trainer, whatever you are in business, a book definitely differentiates you. It definitely sets you apart. And more importantly, it really shows that you are an expert in the field, in the area that you say you are. Now, you can go research that. People going to find that in Google. It's going to set you apart. It's going to, show that you're an expert. But it truly does, because the contents of the book really displays your framework and your methodology. It shows what you actually practice with people that come into your circle, with clients. It displays everything. And I like to separate clients and readers, because some people will definitely sign up to be your clients, but some people just want to read your books and learn from there and
Yeah.
keep it moving. And there's a difference between a client and a reader. You know, there really is. That client is going to pay you more money for what you have to offer and read your book. That reader just going to say, you know, I'm going to pay this $20 to $25. If you got a series, I'll hook you up, but I'm done. And I'm going to keep it moving. You know what I mean? So yeah, it really helps to differentiate you, especially from your competition. And it really helps you stand out more in the mind of readers who may be looking for some type of transformation in their lives.
Okay. So if I were a small business and I'm a coach or I'm an expert,
Mm-hmm.
how do I know that the book is the right way versus something else that might help me stand out, like a YouTube channel or even a podcast, right? Like,
Right.
how do I pinpoint that the book is for me versus something else? Because I think a lot of times there's so many ways to do some of the stuff
Yes.
that how do you determine that I got some? Well, I guess let me reel that question back a little bit because you said something interesting, like display your framework.
Yeah.
How do I know that I have a framework? Because I think sometimes we're just good and we're like, I can help you get there, but we don't know why we're good at what we do.
Exactly. And that's a great question. So that's why a coach comes into play. And let me better frame that, what I just said to you. Often we get a vision and we get an idea, right? And it's usually start a business or go help someone in there, go help divorced women, go help divorced men. That's the end thing. But we don't get the download as far as the process.
Right.
So we just immediately either jump into, I got a business idea and we don't know which way to go with it. Or if you're like me, I get the people that I got to clean up stuff. You know, they've already launched it. They've already put the book out there. Nothing is working. Nobody's biting the bait. They're not getting clients. They're not getting readers. And I got to help clean up that because they didn't go seek for additional help. And to your question, that's where a coach does come in. Go speak with a coach for clarification on your idea, on your vision, and then that coach can help pull other things out of you in terms of the direction that you may want to go.
I love what you're saying there because it's funny because most business owners that can get results, they do have a framework.
Yep.
It's just a lot of times they can't even articulate it, right? And
Right.
I went through that for years.
Right.
Of
Right.
like people are like, how do you like with marketing? They're like, how do you? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do it.
I just do it. Right.
And then sitting down and like, well, no, we got to do this first.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start telling people, no, well, this has to happen first.
Right.
That's an indication of your framework right there.
There it is.
And it's taking those steps of like, well, no, I can't do that until I do this, right? Or the reason why this is working is because we're missing this piece.
Right.
And it's being able to articulate those things that can be a challenge. And sometimes you need other people around you
Right.
to help you articulate it. Matter of fact, I just went down to Vegas a couple weeks ago, and for a marketing conference, I won an award. Woo, woo.
Congratulations. Yes.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I met a guy, his name is Perry, and he's the chief editor at a publication called Follow Your Buyer.
Okay.
And he and I spoke for 4 days and just to kind of share my philosophy around like customer interaction and things of that nature. And last week he puts out a article that was based on the conversation that we had. Now he told me this was coming out, but I'm like, okay, whatever, here's my bio.
Right.
But his ability to take what I said over the 4 days and produce like, this is what he was getting at. I'm like, man, I need to hire this guy to just listen to me.
Right.
Because while those were my words, seeing it be articulated from someone that can see what you're saying in a way and write it that is so clear.
That's right. Yes.
Is a skill, right? And we don't all possess it.
No,
right?
that's right. That's right.
That's definitely not my skill, right? I got my visions, I know my frameworks, but to call myself a writer, I don't consider myself a writer.
Right. Right.
I consider myself a person that's got information.
Absolutely.
And I consider myself a communicator.
Right.
But my medium is not writing.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's interesting speaking to writers and when I see them, I'm like, That ain't my calling, baby. That ain't my calling.
Right.
So
Right.
we talked a little bit about this idea of like books help you stand out, but share a little bit more of like why write a book for your business specifically, right? We know why authors write books, but
Yeah. Yeah.
why for a business, or if you're an expert, like help unpack that a little bit more.
Sure.
Share a little bit more about the standing out piece.
Sure, absolutely. Well, number one, it opens other doors for you. I remember you mentioning how just from writing your two books, it opened the opportunity for you to speak.
Yes.
So if it lands into the right hands, it opens up other opportunities for you, which means that puts you in front of your audience even more.
Yeah.
The book can go places or will go places that sometimes you won't get to, right? And then number two, it opens up other doors for you. Number three, it definitely positions you because then you can expand that book. You can expand on the one item, and now you can create a course that aligns with it, which gives your client or reader more information or more help from you. And then you can decide you're going to do a coaching program from it. The part that I really love is the series. I think that more coaches, authors, and experts can really position themselves and show their expertise because now they just don't have one book, but now they got a second book or a third book. And it just pushes them out there even more in front of more people, which in return helps them make more profit and more revenue and transform more lives. I mean, that's really the unpacking of it right there. That really is.
Yeah. So share that a little bit. I think you're one of the few people that I've heard really talk about this idea of a series, but what do you mean by a series? And if I'm somebody that's thinking about writing my book, what is a series? What is the value of the series?
Sure. So there's an author now that has, I think it's called the Millionaire Mindset or the Millionaire. Let me grab it because I have it up here. It's actually the Miracle Morning.
Oh yeah, yeah.
By Hal Elroyd.
Yep.
He has about 20 books in this series.
Yeah.
Listen to this. He also established a community. So his Facebook group is popping.
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as you said Miracle Morning, I'm like, oh yeah.
Honey, he got one for millionaires. He got one for writers. He got one for salespeople. For teachers, for marketers. I mean, that's a series.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you picked that one because I was thinking of somebody else. I thought she was going to grab Mr. Brunson's books.
Okay, I know.
He's another one.
Right. Russell Brunson. I have him right here.
I know you do. I've seen him in your videos.
See, but that's smart thinking for your market. And now you're reaching others within the market. So you're reaching the niche within the niche, within the niche, within the niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the series helps address a fear that a lot of entrepreneurs have of like, but I don't want to exclude nobody.
Right, exactly.
Right. And it's like Miracle Morning is a great example of like, he wrote Miracle Morning, which was just the general Miracle Morning.
It sure was.
And then he was like, well, but Miracle Morning for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And he uses the same framework.
Oh my God, yes. I've read them.
So what was it? Lifesavers. So get this. He's showing each sect of people how to use or how to apply lifesavers in their life.
Absolutely.
That is a perfect example of why you should write a book and show how your framework can reach other people or other markets.
Yeah, that is a beautiful example. So when you are preparing to write a book, what are some things that you should consider before you even put pen to paper?
Oh, there are a lot of things to consider. Before we go into that, one thing I want to mention is I have a series too. It's Transforming You series. And I have to say, in terms of marketing and sales, my first book in my series on forgiveness is still outperforming my other two. But now that the other two are out, guess what happens? People buy the bundle.
Yes.
Now, and my first book, the sales are, I don't have to run any ads to my first book. I check it every other day, honey. People are still buying.
You know, there's a guy, I can't think of his name, but he wrote the book 12 Months to 1 Million.
I know. Mm-hmm.
And he talks about that phenomenon of like, when you produce your first product, getting your first product to 25, when you drop your second product and get it to 25, it will multiply the first.
Yep. That's another reason. Now, that's the marketing part. You didn't talk to me about the marketing part of the book.
No, but there's value, right? Because I think sometimes when we start looking at things, like you get folks like Alex Hormozy, who wrote his book, that you can get on Amazon Kindle for $1, and you're like, but $1?
Yeah.
But then when you have 4 or 5 books in a series, and you're like, but $1, but $1 times 5, it's like, okay,
that's right.
You get 100,000 people buying all 5. It's a different game. It's a different scale. And then you also get people that are like, well, it was just $1, so I'm going to buy the other thing that you're talking about in the book, because there's so much knowledge in here that I feel like I've had people read his stuff and be like, I feel like I robbed him.
Wow.
Because it was $1.
It was $1.
Right? So they're like, I want something else to buy. Now, he doesn't really have much else other than that. And then I think his gym launch book.
Okay.
But it's like, those are really the only 2 things you can buy from him until you hit that $5 million revenue mark.
Right.
And now he's trying to buy your company. So
there you go. See the marketing. See, there you go. But to your other question, Maurice, I didn't forget about it. The things that go into, the primary things that go into this. Number one, are you writing to your market, for your market, or are you writing for yourself? So the first thing you want to do, you want to keep your audience in mind, and that people wonder why their book is not selling, especially if they're not a large brand. Steve Harvey can drop his memoir tomorrow and he's going to make millions.
Yep.
His wife can drop a memoir tomorrow. She's going to make, it's harder to sell when you're talking about yourself versus to when you're writing, just sharing some narratives, but you're really helping people through the contents of your book to bring transformation in their life. So you want to consider your market first and foremost. Secondly, you want to consider your book cover. Should your face be on the front of the book cover? I've worked with a lot of authors where when they've had their face on the book cover, the sales plummeted. But after revising their book covers to align with what their market wants, the scales skyrocketed.
Okay. That's interesting.
That's one of the advantages of being an independent or an indie author too, because you can go and you can change the book cover, you can go in and change the contents, you can edit. You just have more freedom versus to going through a traditional publisher. Right. And personally, I think going through a publisher, you should have your numbers up anyway, because at the end of the day, publishers are looking for numbers. Let's just call it like it is. Your numbers are up. Your email list is up. They see your social media booming. Why would they not take you? You know what I mean? So people don't want to talk about that part, but that, the
self-publishing game has changed the publishing game, right?
It really has. Yeah.
It's hard nowadays for a publisher to be like, I'm going to take a nobody from nowhere.
Yeah.
And publish this book when I have somebody that's generated $100,000 in book sales, has a following, that we know that their stuff is good because people are telling you that it's good. Don't let you be an author with a TikTok that, every time you drop a book, you get 10,000 sales from your TikTok. Right.
It is happening.
It's a different world out here.
It is.
And people are taking their self-published books and creating businesses,
they
right?
Are.
Like
they really
authors
are.
that were like, I just want to write. And now they're, know, public speakers and doing tons of other stuff because they wrote a book.
Wrote a book, yes. Right. The book cover needs to align with the author, because I want to just go back to your question. The book cover must align with the market. You definitely want to look at the colors, look at just look at some top performing bestsellers in that particular genre and look at the book covers.
Right.
Skim all 100, top 100, skim them, go to Goodreads, skim them, go to BookBub, skim them, and do something that fits within that market, that genre that you are writing in. Okay. Your blurb, which is the book description. So these are the things that I'm mentioning now. This is what sells your book. Okay. The book cover, the title, I know we're going to get into that a little bit later. The book description. I've had to change my book description at least 10 or 20 times. I'm being very transparent, because you don't get it. If you're the writer of the book, not the editor, but the writer, and then you're turning around writing your own sales page because your description is just a sales page, and if it's not really speaking to the emotional aspects of your audience, it won't convert.
Right.
After your friends and family, the book will not convert. So, I mean, they can help you out, but Amazon is even getting very smart about even reviews. If a person is too closely connected to you, they will not they won't add that review on your behalf. So they're really catching on to things because people have really abused it. But your book cover, the title, your book description, and your insight matter. Amazon has that feature where you look, it's called Look Inside.
Yep.
And I help my authors and my coaches. That's one of the main parts. Your chapters, and here's a tidbit for anybody listening. Your chapters, your chapter names need to speak to the wants and problems of your audience.
Yeah. Yes, it's got to be, each chapter needs to portray the transformation.
There you go.
Like, and that's where it gets challenging, because I think sometimes people take on this book journey and they're like, I just need to share really good information. And the challenge is we forget that good information is no longer good enough.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
It's about the presentation. Like, all of that stuff matters now.
Yep.
We used to say, don't judge a book by its cover, but now there's so many books.
You buy a book, you
I got to.
Yeah.
I would never get anywhere if I didn't. And so, especially when you're thinking about, how do I position myself as an expert?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I got a $25,000 offer on the back end, like, you got to spend some bread on this book. Like, I'm sorry, you do. You got to get it. You got to get it right.
You do.
Because with it not being right, you're not going to get the results that you want. And neither will your client either, for that matter. Right?
And you want to make sure the book is edited. That's the fifth important.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Let's talk about that for a little, Maurice, because I've had my book edited, or books edited, about 3 or 4 times. Granted, you go through a traditional publisher, you got like 20, 25 editors, and I mean, just different types of editors going through your book. That's different, right? But when it falls on you and you're paying out of pocket to have your book edited, and then you're constantly going back and forth looking at it, you can miss a few things. So like, I've had a period on like a subtitle. And if I catch it to this very day, because I missed it, the beauty about publishing independently, guess what I do? I get it fixed, I take down the old, and I put up the new. So I want to say that to people. Don't be afraid of that. That's very normal. And believe it or not, your readers can be very compassionate. Some are. I'm really serious. Some will just overlook it. Now, if you got a whole bunch of grammatical, maybe they're going to talk about you. The writing is horrible, baby. I've seen the reviews. The writing is horrible. Did somebody edit this? You know what I mean? But if you got 1 or 2, maybe 3, they overlook it. You know what I mean? So, but if you catch it, go fix it.
They can be okay with it. I've definitely had a few, right? But I had to learn early on when I published mine, was like, I can't do this by myself.
No, you can't. You need somebody. You got to have it. Mm-hmm.
And even if, and this is anybody listening that, or watching, that believes that they're a bomb.com editor, you might be. But the truth is you still need a second, third, fourth set of eyes on that bad boy. My
next book, I'm going to do about 5 or 6 different. I'm serious. I will.
Yeah. So like, now when I do mine, I do a developmental editor.
Gotta have a beta reader too. Yeah.
A couple beta readers.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I put my stuff through a copy editor. And then we go back. Then I go back to a beta reader and developmental editor.
Now because you're talking. Yep.
The story has to change, right? So I want to write it the first time through.
I love it.
For the sake of getting the information out, getting the frameworks out, doing that stuff, right? That's the stuff that has to be on paper, right?
That's right.
But then it's about like, are you telling this story right?
Right.
Like, if them stories ain't hitting, you're gonna be missing, right? And those are the things that I think. Oh, Dan Kennedy.
Okay.
Yeah, his book Sales Letter.
Yeah, I got that one. The ultimate sales letter. I got.
When I think about writing a book now, it is like, and some folks may disagree with this, but I approach it very much like writing a sales letter.
And you should. Because you're selling. You're selling transformation. You're selling a solution. You're selling, results. You should.
Yeah. And so so it's like, that's what he talks about. He's like, get the story out, go back and edit, make sure everything's good,
Yeah.
and go back and then at the end we do for editing for format and stuff like that. So like, you got to realize there's about 5-6 rounds of edits, or not even rounds, but phases.
That's right, exactly.
Like,
so please, if you're listening to Maurice and I, baby, edit your books and get multiple.
Please do. And I will say this. One of the things that I had to learn was like, don't give it to your friends and family.
No.
Edit. Right? Like, and unless you got an uncle that's, the perfect avatar and don't care nothing about hurting your feelings, right? And a writer and a reader, you might have a perfect person in your life that you're like, I know that they're going to give me real feedback, and this is their thing. They might be the exception, but for the rule, like, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, I've done with both my books, I shared them with friends and family, and the feedback that I got was more of a waste of time than it was of value.
Yeah.
The exception was my children's book.
Okay.
But who I shared it with were children.
Because they honest.
They are. I had 4 different animation samples, and they was like, "What's wrong with that girl's eyes?"
That's what I thought. That's how honest they tell the truth.
Yes. And I don't have kids, so I don't know nothing about kids animation for books, right? This is they jam. So I don't mind showing a 4-year-old a cartoon and be like, "Do you like this or this?" Because they gonna just tell you, like, ugh.
They're gonna say
right?
no. right.
And same thing a lot with the parents. I was able to share the stuff with the parents, and they were like, "This is too long. I'm not reading this to my kid," right? And that was amazing feedback for me because I went back and shortened the book, and one of the things that I got on the other end was like, it's the perfect length.
I love it. Okay.
Right? Like, we can sit down and breeze through it real quick.
Yeah.
It feels bigger,
right?
But I put a lot of pictures in it.
Right.
And that was something else that the kids were like. They were like, I like a lot of pictures. So that's what we did. And so you got to be mindful of the feedback that you give.
Your audience, they will tell you what they want.
If you get the right one.
If you get the right, If you get the right one.
Be mindful, y'all, when you're doing this stuff. Having feedback from the wrong audience is worse than having no feedback.
I agree with you. I do.
It'll set you back. So you shared about the cover, but then how do you go about choosing the right title or a good title?
Number one, I'm nonfiction. I've written my plethora of fiction books,
right?
But my jam is nonfiction. So you definitely want to always speak to the result in the transformation of your audience. And that comes from really knowing, I'm going to use the word avatar here. That really comes from knowing who your ideal customer or your ideal avatar is.
Right.
And then of course you look at other books in your genre to see what their titles are based on. And always go to the bestsellers. This is what I do. What I'm telling you is what I do for myself, what I've done for my clients, and they've been successful in multiple bestsellers multiple times. It's the truth. You got to know your avatar. You got to know, because that's going to help you determine the title of your book. And you definitely want a subtitle. I always suggest going with something that really highlights the 3 areas that people are struggling with. So let me use my book for an example. Forgiving You, moving towards your healing by processing your emotions and overcoming offenses. So I know people don't know how to process their emotions when they're in this unforgiving state. That's one of the pain points of my audience. And then they're ready. And then one of the things they want to overcome. They want to overcome things that have offended them to help them get to that forgiveness part. So
love that.
And I know forgiveness is a very hot topic. I get people that express that they're not going to forgive. Baby, they show it. They angry, they mad. I've triggered something. So forgiveness is a double-edged sword.
Right.
It can trigger the wrong, it can really trigger just bad things in people, or it can trigger things in people that says, you know what, I need your book because I'm ready for this. So that's what you want to have in mind when you come up with a title. Where are they at now? Where do they want to be? And then that subtitle should speak to both. Combine both of them.
I love that. I love that. So you're sharing a lot of nuggets, and I think the next question really does have to be, how do I figure out, you know, who my ideal customer is? Especially like I never thought about writing a book.
Right.
So I may be listening to this now and be like, you know what, this is a good idea,
Mm-hmm.
but I have no clue where to even start to say I'm going to write a book, especially if I'm a new business with little to no customers.
What is your expertise?
Oh, I'm just asking in general.
That's the question I ask I want to hear their background. You know,
Okay.
where are you coming from? What what made you decide to want to become a coach? Why do you want to be a fitness coach? You know, I'm working with a company now that does chimneys, and she wants to do something with the book. I'm okay. Well, why did you get into chimney cleaning? You know, it always goes back to their why. When I hear the why, then I say, there's an audience for that. There's an audience for that. You know, your why is your audience. I wrote my first book on writing nonfiction through your fears because you heard my story with what happened to me.
Right.
And that put fear in me not to want to write and not think my writing was up to par and I think my writing was good enough.
Mm.
And then, okay, I got 2 master's degrees. I did something right. I taught students the writing process. I did so all of that, all of that experience brings in and really cultivates your gift and your expertise. And that's where you come from with becoming a coach. That makes you stand out. I have a different framework for forgiveness. That's the writer in me. But as a marketing coach, I bring something different, and unique because now there are not too many people that actually help them write their methodologies nor their frameworks. And then how does that help transform the lives of people or your audience? So if your avatar's name is Billy Bob, I just had to say that. If your avatar's name, see, that's how silly you and I get. If your avatar's name is Billy Bob, I could have came up with something better, but
You coulda. You coulda. That's all right though.
I'm sorry. If your avatar's name is Billy Bob and you know everything about Billy Bob, you know where his weakness is as a marketer or in his business, right?
Yeah.
Then I would say to you, how can you help him? And then you're going to tell me how. And I'm going to say, why do you want to help him? That takes us deeper,
Does.
And then when you start telling me why, well, I think you have a solution for Billy. We should package that into a book. And if you really want to scale, let's package it more into a course.
Good. Good stuff. Good stuff. So if somebody wanted to connect with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
They can reach out to me via email, Jacqueline T. Hill at The Living Acts. That's ACTS, like the Book of Acts in the Bible.com. They can reach out to me through TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. They can Google me, Jacqueline T. Hill. I'm just going to a whole page, about first 2-3 pages is going to pop up. Just Google me. They can Google me.
Her contact information will also be in the show notes. So you'll be able to look in the description, whether you're on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you're on, you'll be able to get her contact info there. So if you're thinking about and you want to apply Jacqueline's frameworks, look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I've done the guessing and that guessing stuff, and it won't take you to where you want to be.
No, it doesn't.
Reach out, talk to her, get on the waiting list. Cause she ain't taking people right now. You got a waiting list. So you gotta wait. And anytime you get somebody that's like, well, I can put you on the waiting list, you know that they're good. Right? It's like when you go to buy that new car, you like go to buy a Tesla, you don't walk away with one. You get put on the list.
You do. That's
and
a
then
good
you
point.
wait
Yeah.
until they're ready for you. Then they'll let you know we got some. You ready to pay that bill. And after you pay that bill, then we'll put your car in production.
There you go.
But it is about paying for help. And I'm gonna say this, and Jacqueline didn't ask me to say this, but I'm gonna tell y'all anyway. As a coach, as an expert looking to ask people to pay you for help.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to pay for help, you will have a hard time commanding the price that your services are truly worth.
You better say that again. Say that for the people in the back because
Man.
that free stuff is fragmented. They just don't know.
And you know what? I'm all about check out the free stuff. Check it out.
Yeah.
You know, see if this is really what you want to do.
There you go.
Because I don't want you coming over here thinking that you might want to maybe kind of sort of. I need you to be sure
that's right.
that you're ready to go. And that is the value of the free, right? Gets you to a place of like, this is where I want to be.
Right.
But you pay for speed.
Yep. That's right.
And folks, like, look, I built a 6-figure business off a lot of free stuff. And it's hard. It was hard work.
It was hard. I agree with you, Maurice. I did.
Look, I just hired my first 5-figure coach and it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Love it.
Like I looked at that bill and I was like, woo. But I also want to take my business to 7 figures. And I can't do that off free.
See, that's why I have a coach. I'm glad you mentioned that. So I have a coach because first of all, it's different mindsets to each amount of money that you see yourself making. And, you know, if you're not at that 6-figure mindset, even 5-figure per month, that's a mindset.
Listen.
It's a mindset. After 9,000, baby, that's the last 4 figures. You get the 10K, that's 5 figures, honey. That's a mindset because what are you going to do with it? You know, and can you maintain it? So that's why I have a coach as well. I want to get higher up in 6 figures. And then I'm going to be like you and get me a coach that can help me I might come to you for the 7 figures. You see what I'm saying? So
look, and it's wild. So and I don't do books, y'all. So Jacqueline's the one to do books. If you're curious about launching a podcast, hit your boy up. We'll have a conversation, right? But when I was working with my coach, he did a challenge. Mm-hmm. And I've been following him for a while. So I didn't just like find this guy on the corner. You know, we're not running up to the guy flipping signs. So you got a 5-figure coaching program.
Right.
But I've been following him for a while. Mm-hmm. And he was doing one of his sessions and he said, if you're about to pay for something and you say to yourself, that's a lot of money, you have a mindset problem.
You do. That is.
And I was like, dang.
That is.
I was looking at LinkedIn Premium and I was like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it was like right after his call.
See?
Because I was like, no, my mindset's solid, around money. I'm solid.
Yeah.
And then I heard that in the back of my mind. I was like, $100 is a lot of money for a monthly for social media.
Maurice, I cannot.
I was I don't know about this. And sure enough, I was like, dang.
Yeah. But you're making it back. If you invest it.
If you're using it, right?
If you're using it, you'll make it back. Mm-hmm.
And I think that becomes the bigger question, right? Like, so if I really have to ask, is the value there, for me and what I'm doing? And we ain't got time to unpack that. But what I wanted to get into that a little bit because I think so many people, when we start talking about coaches, consulting, we want to charge more, but we don't want to pay more.
Well, you know what I've learned, Maurice? I've been more intentional about building a better relationship with my money and co-creating with my money.
Okay.
My dollar gonna work for me. So I'm talking about just a dollar. If I go to the 99-cent store, if I go to Dollar Tree and I spend $1 and 10 cents because of taxes, I love mechanical pencils. Okay. So, baby, let me tell you, this $1 done turned into 5-figure months. You picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, I feel you. Putting it to work.
Because all of my little notebooks and stuff that I got, I write in them. I plan. You see, so I'm intentional. So if you produce it, I'm gonna make the investment. And Maurice, we're degreed. If we can pay for a college degree, honey.
Man, don't even get me started.
Honey, that was my conviction. I said, if I could pay for my college, I could pay for the coach.
Yes, absolutely. I forgo the PhD and got some coaching because it was that math wasn't mathing when I looked at that.
See?
So if you had to have one thing that everybody took away from this, if they wasn't paying attention, what would it be?
Number one, if you have a book idea, or if you desire to become a life coach, transformational coach, a manifestation coach, I mean, there's so many coaches out there. Number one, get clear. Get clear on your direction. Get clarity. Book a free session call. A lot of coaches will give you a free clarity call before you actually pay, and then take advantage of that clarity call to see which way you want to go. And then, if you know that you want to write a book, do your research, do your diligence first. Do your due diligence, research the market. If you know you want to write a book about things that you've overcome, think about your market and think about other authors that have overcome those same things and look at how they wrote their books, purchase them. I have a library. This is not even half of my library behind me, but I read a lot so that I can know what my competitors are talking about, what they're writing about, what their books are about. Because look, you can model it. You can model it. So you don't have to make a mistake the first time around. Success really does leave clues. So definitely, you want to write a book, do your research and do your homework first. If you want to go into coaching, meet up with someone. Call Maurice. Call me, call somebody.
Don't call Maurice, call her if you want to get into coaching.
He's saying get somebody else to do it. That's what he's saying.
Somebody else to do
Get
it.
somebody else to do it. But that would be my advice. Seriously, start off right.
That is fantastic advice. So, Jacqueline, I appreciate you for coming on the show. That is a wrap for today's episode of Marketing Stuff. We hope you enjoyed the nuggets that we were dropping. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button because you want access to this and any other nuggets that are coming through. Look, outside of all of that, stay out here winning, yo.